Factsverse presents. When a strange vessel washes up on the Irish coastline, the Coast Guard is stumped. Could it be Lucky Charms? Maybe Guinness beer? Or maybe it's just a pot of gold? Well, we'll find out in just a moment. First, though, help us spread the word about Factsverse by clicking that like button, and also be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss our future videos. It's not uncommon for things to wash up on the shores of Ireland. However, when a strange watercraft washed up in 2016, it became a bit of a mystery. It was a gloomy day when that vessel was heading toward the shore, and it made it difficult to see at first. When it was discovered, somebody called the authorities to look into this large object, and due to its course, if it weren't stopped, it was going to crash into the rocky Irish coastline. Well, as it got closer, more and more people wanted to know what this was. When the Coast Guard arrived, they went to investigate the vessel. They were worried that people on board were sick or in danger. When the Coast Guard got close, they found the ship looked nothing like anything they had ever seen before. It looked more like a caravan than a ship. When they boarded, they couldn't find a single person aboard the craft. They had no idea where everyone had gone. The Coast Guard was stumped. By the looks of the vessel, they couldn't believe that it was even seaworthy. Before they could do any type of investigation, the Coast Guard needed to get this boat on land. They weren't sure how stable it was, and they didn't want to investigate it while it was still out at sea. Finally, when the boat did make it to shore, they could look it over. They found that it was very weathered. All the windows had been smashed. Many of the boards on the inside were also broken. The vessel looked as though somebody could have lived on it, but they couldn't find any signs of personal belongings anywhere. Finally, on one of the walls, they found a strange message, and it was the first clue that they got to who may have built the boat. And the clue was a name. It read Rick Small. Turned out that Mr. Small was not a local man. In fact, Rick was on the other side of the world. Rick lived in Thunder Bay, Ontario, and he was well known there. He was a bit of an eccentric, too. The question was, where was Rick and why was his boat on the other side of the planet? Well, after further investigation, they found out that Rick was an environmentalist and a huge advocate for solar energy. He even built multiple vehicles that ran on solar. It turned out the boat was one of Rick's solar-powered creations, and he had the idea of sailing across the Atlantic Ocean in this boat. When the boat was built, Rick was supposed to set sail. The only problem was that Rick was missing. They had no idea where to find him. Turned out, Rick told the Coast Guard of his plans to sail, and they weren't all that thrilled with the idea. After hearing how dangerous the journey would be, Rick put off his plans to sail. Instead, he tied the boat up to a dock and wrote a note on the wall that read, "I, Rick Small, donate this structure to the homeless youth, to give them a better life that Newfoundlanders choose not to do." No rent, no mortgage, no hydro. And the Coast Guard didn't know what that meant. Since the vessel arrived on the shore, many companies had expressed interest in restoring it and making it an official landmark in their Atlantic Way tour. They hoped it would promote tourism in the area. After an extensive search, the authorities were not able to find Rick. People hoped that he would come forward once his boat's arrival became international news, but he never did. What they did find were his other solar-powered vessels, which included his solar-powered bike. Rick still has not come forward to this day, but many of his inventions have been found. And this man was very innovative and intelligent. People are hoping that he will eventually come forward so that we can see what other solar-powered vessels he's capable of making. In the meantime, the people of Ireland will just keep looking out for strange things to wash up on the shore because it happens quite often there. This may not be one of those stories of how 7 decades after his disappearance in World War II, a wife discovers the truth, but it's still an amazing story. Subscribe for more!